From Psalm's 1v1 against CGRS to crazy 1v4s from Something, we've seen our fair share of close rounds throughout the 2023 VCT season. But have you ever wondered if any of these rounds were something that could have been prevented, or just Super Saiyan clutch moments that you can't do anything about?
What?
In this video, I'm going to show you some of the worst throws and best clutches from the 2023 VCT season. Then I want you to think about what you would have done in these situations before I break down my perspective on them. Make sure to comment down below if you have any interesting insights on any of the plays shown. First, let me address some comments from my first video about Psalm's clutch. Many people said that he still threw the round because he could have thrown a better cove to block his escape. Even if this is true, it doesn't make Psalm's play a throw. As spectators, we know exactly where CGRS is, so we can easily say that he had time to run. From Psalm's perspective, he's expecting a faster push from CGRS, because he has no other way to win the round. If CGRS was just a bit closer to this corner, Psalm could have easily been swung while trying to cove. This is also why Psalm goes towards the left, so CGRS has to swing wider to find him. With all things considered, Psalm going for an advantageous fight was still a good choice by him. Remember that CGRS still had to win a run and gun through a cove against a shorty to clutch out the round. In the end, this wasn't a throw because of the circumstances, but the same cannot be said about this next clip between RRQ and Zeta during the Pacific Regional LCQ. This is quintuple overtime on the last map of the series. Zeta have planted the bomb on A and are in a 3v4. Omen is then killed Gen, and now it's a 2v4 with one player in Hell and the other in A main. But RRQ suddenly loses 3 players to Dep in Hell, who the bomb is not even planted for. Dep saves the game by forcing a 6th overtime, and Zeta ends up winning the match.
He's trying to tap it, trying to bait out the peaks, but he rushes at the last second and Dep!
So what actually happened here? Here's a reconstruction of the round right before things go south. What would you have done in this situation to ensure that you win the 4v2 as RRQ? Pause here if you want some time to think. In this 4v2, the bomb is planted for a main, but it's just been freshly smoked off. RRQ never actually needed to clear Hell. Their Heaven players can hold the A main smoke as well as Dep's exit from Hell, while 2 players can play the bomb. But instead, they peek into Dep and die. This was also a very controlled situation for RRQ. After Omen dies near Gen, nothing happens for a couple seconds before RRQ actually decides to push Dep in Hell. RRQ really rushed things when they already had all the control they needed to win the round. This was a devastating throw from RRQ, as they had a great chance to win the match, but ultimately lost to Zeta, who ended up winning LCQ. A lot of crazy things happen on Ascent A, like this round between Crew and Lev during America's LCQ. Crew start the round with a retake setup on A, expecting some sort of B rush. But Lev decide to go A, so it's a full 5v5 retake. A one-way smoke from Lev at door gives them a good opening fight, but the chaos doesn't stop, and suddenly Killjoy is in a 1v2 which they cannot clutch. The round is quite chaotic, so let's slow it down a bit and see what really happened. Leviathan's initial play was to go for an Omen blind from Hell while Jet jumps up and peeks Heaven, but Kesnet is just too aware and pre-fires the jump up spot when he gets blind. Lev still manages to win both fights at door, so they're in a decent position. In my opinion, there was one main mistake from Lev that caused this round to fall apart, and it happens right about here. Here's another reconstruction of the state of the round at this point. What would you have done in this situation? First, take note of how Lev's Omen drops a smoke for himself in Hell, but then has to push out of it to fight with his team. This tells me that there was a miscommunication on how Lev was going to play the round from this point. Lev had good positions to wait for the tap with control of A main as well as Cat. Omen can safely hide in Hell and become an annoying distraction for Crew. Sova is also not completely ready to swing, as he's deeper in A main and not in the smoke yet. These small disadvantages gave Crew just enough control of the site to win the fight. If Lev were on the same page about fighting, Omen would have likely not smoked himself off, and Sova would be inside the smoke ready to swing. But to be honest, this round was pretty chaotic and Lev didn't have much time between kills to make a plan. So we can't really say that this round was a throw, but the round was still very important and it helped Crew win this game and ultimately win the Americas LCQ. As for EMEA, they had 2 qualifying teams from LCQ because Fnatic won Masters, but that didn't make it any less stressful, especially for a team like Karmine Corp, who were seeking redemption. After their abysmal regular season, Karmine Corp became serious contenders during LCQ. Karmine Corp clawed their way back into this game on defense after going down 3-9 on attack. This was an important round for them to win if they wanted to take down Giants. Now they're just within 1 round of tying the game. Their Sky gets crunched during the A split, and Giants fully back off to play the post plant. With a lot of smokes left, Karmine Corp are patient and continue to tap the bomb to bait out peeks from Giants. The round suddenly becomes a 1v3 with Cloud's position known. But he somehow clutches it out and wins a massive round for them. What could have gone so wrong here for Karmine Corp to lose the 1v3? This round was completely decided by small positioning choices. How would you have positioned differently in this situation? The main problem was Astra taking this angle, which is extremely safe for Cloud to peek. Astra needed to play an angle that forces Cloud to swing out wider so his teammates can confirm a trade. You can tell that Phoenix tries to do this next, but is surprised by the fast repeat pushing through his molly. The final thing to note is that the diffuser in a 3v1 is actually not the most important player to stay alive, unless the bomb is literally about to explode. It's ideal to bait the diffuser just a little bit to absolutely ensure that you can kill the last player, rather than leaving the diffuser in the final 1v1. What this means here is that Phoenix could have tucked a bit more to the right, as Cloud is forced to swing wide because of the molly. Cloud's crosshair is completely ready for Phoenix's angle when he swings. This is a common way for defenders to lose retakes, as we see a similar situation when BLG played NRG at Champions. BLG have taken A site and NRG are on the retake. NRG get 2 more kills on site, which draws pressure for Killjoy to walk through the Viper ult and then kill Viper. Bianc is the only player left for BLG, but he suddenly wins the 1v3. Just like the last clip, Sky dies first defending the bomb diffuser, who is then sprayed down as the last alive. But honestly, there are larger problems that occur way before this 1v3 even happens. Here's what the minimap looked like after the 2 kills on site. What do you think is going on here? NRG, unfortunately, were just not on the same page, as Omen pushes to kill the Killjoy ult while Sky is trying to run out of it. This could have already cost them the round, as Omen had to push into tree alone, but it still snowballs into late pressure on the bomb, which if tapped by Sky earlier, could have completely changed the round. In the 1v2, Sky could have tried to bait the diffuser a little more like we talked about earlier, but this entire situation could have been improved if NRG were on the same page. BLG upset NRG twice to deny them a playoff spot, but other than that, the group stages of Champions were uneventful. Fnatic, for example, kept looking very dominant against Zeta Division. Zeta was originally running out of time in this round, and Fnatic messed up a free round by going 1 for 3 on site. Alpha suddenly jumps out of heaven and hits a nice 1v3 clutch. It seems like Zeta were completely lost when Alpha jumped out of heaven, but there were some important things that happened which caused a lot of confusion. I'll play it again in slow-mo with the minimap pulled up this time. Okay, did you guys catch that? The big reason Zeta were so lost was because Alpha jumped out of heaven right as the Astra smoke faded. It's almost like a magic trick, as the smoke hides most of Alpha's jump out, then disappears to misdirect Zeta. The smoke in Defender's spawn was also fading at the same time, so Zeta were still worried about a walkout play from there. Honestly though, Sky was a little bit lost, as he had a good amount of time to realize that he needed to fight back. Playoffs continued to deliver mind-blowing plays, like this 1v4 from Something against Loud. Loud have comfortably worked their way onto C and find themselves in a 4v2. Omen is watching the flank on an off angle and falls back after killing one, but PRX's star just makes it look too easy.
These players are so weak. They are weak. Definitely winnable. Pushing back and away. Something wins it out.
So this must have been avoidable, right? It's literally 4v1 with the bomb planted. I'm gonna play this back one more time in slow-mo, and I want you guys to think about where Loud made their biggest mistake. Loud clearly had a couple ways to play this, but I want to draw attention to some key factors. First of all, Loud are pretty lit up, but Omen and Killjoy, who have the least HP, are also stuck in the worst position. Omen falls back, but Viper swings, thinking Omen needs to be traded. This decision is okay. However, the second swing from Fade was definitely the biggest mistake. You never want your low HP players to have to clutch it out, but Fade had the most HP and the best position. When he dies, he also gives a second jet dash to Something, which he uses to quickly reswing Omen, whose position is already known. Because of the fast kill and dash, Killjoy misses their chance to trade and has their location revealed. Something takes his time to check if Killjoy went back toward the right, and once he sees nothing, he crouch swings the final angle, making it near impossible for Killjoy to hit the instant headshot. Always give respect to your opponents, as Loud instantly regrets throwing this round as they go on to lose this map 15-13 in overtime. And by the way, they lost the series 1 map to 2. The PRX star really had Loud's number on Lotus, as he saves the map with a crazy judge play on A. After killing one player mid-site, Something should definitely have been dead, but he still manages to get 2 more with his judge and shorty, sending the map into overtime. I think you guys should be able to figure out pretty quickly what enabled him to win this round as I play back this clip. If you answered this Omen smoke, you were right. You can even see Killjoy missing the chance to kill Something, as the smoke gives him space to hide and then jump out at the perfect timing. The real question is, why Omen would even throw a smoke like this in the first place? It's because he himself had a shotgun, so he was trying to make his own pockets of space, but managed to help his enemy instead. I always say that utility becomes much less useful when you already have a numbers advantage, so be careful fiddling with it too much. Finally, this year ended up being about PRX and EG, with multiple back and forth clutches against each other. In this clip, EG are in a 5v4 retaking A on Pearl. PRX are quite disjointed as 2 players are on site while one is watching flank and another is trying to flank. This gives EG a great opening to retake, and they put themselves in a 3v1 situation. But Mindfreak is PRX's clutcher for a reason and completely destroys EG with clean Vandal shots. What do you think EG could have done better in this situation? So it's a double peek from the right and a swing from the left. This is honestly just one of those Super Saiyan moments for Mindfreak, but I will say that EG could have still played this situation a little bit better. They could have played it a bit more calmly and made sure Boostia was in full position before double peeking it, especially since they had some time left on the bomb. A double peek is manageable, but a triple peek would have been unwinnable. However, EG still had the last laugh, and our final clip on Lotus shows us how they can win rounds out of nothing. EG are defending on an eco and decide to go for an aggressive A push. PRX are playing the standard attack setup to scope out where aggression is and then rotate toward the opposite side of the map. Once PRX realize that EG are stacked on A, they run to C and are able to beat EG there, resulting in a free bomb plant. PRX are pushed out of sight by the retake killjoy ult, except for Jing, who stays in a pocket of space backside. Since Jing is alone, he gets swarmed and dies, but PRX get 2 return kills. Then they swing back into C together, but then Boostio drops everyone using the rifle he picked up from Jing. This was an insane round from Boostio, but what would you have done as PRX in this round? Could they have maybe pushed the killjoy ult, or could have Jing just fallen back from sight? How could a simple anti-eco strat go so terribly wrong? There are actually a lot of different ideas that we can discuss. Firstly, EG know that PRX will immediately run to C if their A aggression does not work. EG don't waste a second and instantly rotate back towards C after pushing A. Even though EG cannot make it in time to defend the site, the faster rotates still matter since they can maintain control of water for the killjoy ult. PRX might normally push aggressively to deny an ult, but EG are ready and on an eco, so it's not really good for PRX to push. Boostio puts his killjoy ult on this side of water. Obviously the ult from this corner seems much better, but crossing to and playing from this corner is much more dangerous. And the funny part is, without this suboptimal ult, Jing would have never tried to stay backside and would have never died and given a rifle to Boostio. I think it's pretty clear that Jing's positioning was a mistake, but you can see that his Skye and Jet were also on site initially, so I can see why Jing might have thought he could stay. Normally playing a full post plant from Mound on Lotus is very strong, especially against ecos, but that's because the meta comp with both Viper and Killjoy have mollies to stall the bomb. In this case, PRX don't have either, which means that they're gonna have to take way more peeks. Now let's pause here to see the game state at 4v3. The bomb hasn't been tapped and PRX still have Astra utility to stall. The Astra utility should render one additional player useless, but no one is even close to the bomb at this point, and Boostio is ready for the fight. Finally, take note of how Forsaken saves an AWP into this round, which is bad against ecos and especially bad at getting multi-kills. He kills Demon 1 and had perfect positioning to swing and kill Boostio if he had a rifle. And if Boostio dies here, Calm is still stuck behind the revolving door and PRX most likely wins the round. So many things had to go right for EG and wrong for PRX for the round to turn out this way, but it's an important reminder that every little thing matters in Valorant. Thanks for watching. Check out my socials down below and consider supporting me as a YouTube member as it helps me out a lot.